graph sheet on which we will be plotting the root locus. I will be solving that problem and how to plot the root locus on the ordinary graph sheet I am showing here. So we had that problem, no? K G of S H of S was equal to K divided by S into S plus 1 into S plus 2. Okay, this problem was there. So how to draw the root locus on the graph sheet, and then application of root locus, we will try to find out what is the gain K at a given point on the root locus. So for that, first we will have to take the coordinates, that is the horizontal coordinate. I am taking it here and dividing the graph into two portions, vertically and horizontally. So this is my, what I am showing is, this is the real part, and this is the positive real part and the negative real part. The origin I am taking it as this, so this will be 0, 0. Okay, so this is 0, 0, and then vertically I am taking this as the j omega axis, that is j omega. Okay, j omega, and this is plus j omega, positive imaginary axis, and below that we will be taking the negative imaginary axis, that I am taking as minus j omega. Now I will scale this graph 2 divisions is equal to 1. So for the positive, the real scaling is, this will be plus 1, and 2 divisions plus 2, then this is 3, 4, and then 5, etc. It goes in this. Then the negative, I will be scaling it like this, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and this point will be minus 4, and it extends till minus infinity. So I have scaled the negative real axis, 2 main divisions equal to 1, and here also minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, and minus infinity. Similarly, the equal scaling on the j omega axis, so this will be plus j1, this is plus j2, and this will be plus j3, this will be plus j4, etc. till plus j infinity. Then I have minus j1, minus j2, and then minus j3, and this is minus j4 to infinity. So this is my 0 point. Now first of all, I will have to locate the poles and zeros. These are the poles. So how many poles are there for this? There are the number of poles P is equal to 3, 1, 2, and then 3. And number of zeros, there are no zeros, it is equal to 0. So number of root loci, the number of root loci will be equal to P, that is equal to 3. Okay, so we got yesterday I have explained to all these things. So what are the poles? P1 is equal to 0, there is a pole at S is equal to 0. P2, there is a pole at S is equal to minus 1, and there is a pole at S is equal to minus 2. So, and there are no zeros, all the zeros are at infinity if there are no zeros. So now we will come here, there is a pole at S is equal to 0, and there is a pole at S is equal to minus 1, and there is a pole at S is equal to minus 2. So we have located these 3 poles, P1, P2, and then P3. Okay, so then we will have to the root loci start from the open loop poles. We know that. So for one root loci, let us say RL1, the root loci starts at S is equal to 0. Another root loci starts at S is equal to minus 1. And the third root loci, so RL2, RL3 will start at S is equal to minus 2. So one root loci will start from S is equal to 0. And another will start from S is equal to minus 1, and the third one will start from S is equal to minus 2. Now we have to see how this root loci moves on the negative real axis. So for that we have to find part of root loci and real axis. So part of root loci on real axis. So how do we find? That is our rule number 3. So what we have is, we stand between, so if you stand to the left of this S is equal to 0 pole, so you stand here and then you view to the right of that pole. So how many poles are there? So if you see from here, this from S is equal to 0, to s is equal to minus 1, anywhere you stand, you will see odd number of poles. So angle condition will be satisfied. So the part of root loci from s is equal to 0 to s is equal to minus 1 is a part of root loci on the real axis. That means any point on this negative real axis will be the root of the characteristic equation. So this is a part of root loci. So s is equal to 0 to s is equal to minus 1 is a part of the root loci. Now if I stand at this point and view between minus 1 and minus 2, if I stand anywhere and view to the right, I am seeing two number of poles. Total number of poles and zeros are 2. So even number of poles and zeros are there means it does not satisfy the angle condition. So the part of the root loci on the negative real axis, that is minus 1 to minus 2, is not part of root loci, because angle condition will not be satisfied, because there are even number of poles when you view to the right of this point between minus 1 to minus 2. So this is not part of root loci. I will not darken this. Now if I come to the part of root loci and negative real axis, whether it is a part or not, we have to find out. So minus 2 to minus infinity, there is no pole, nothing. So anywhere you stand between minus 2 and minus infinity on the negative real axis, and you see to the right of that point, I stand here and see to the right, 1, 2, 3, 3 poles are there. I stand here and see to the right, I see 3 poles. So anywhere you stand between minus 2 to minus infinity, the total number of poles and zeros seen is 1, 2, 3, and hence the angle condition is satisfied. The odd number of poles and zeros are there means angle condition will be satisfied. So part of the root loci from s is equal to minus 2 to minus infinity, it is a part of root loci on the real axis. So you darken this line. Okay. Now one root loci will start from s is equal to 0 and it has to move in this direction. Okay, it cannot move in this direction because it is not part of root loci. If you stand here, angle condition will not be satisfied. No poles and zeros. So to the right, it is not part of root loci. Now this root loci starting from s is equal to 0, that is where k is equal to 0. So at open loop poles, the value of k is equal to 0. Here it is a open loop pole, the value of k is equal to 0. Here it is a open loop pole, the value of k is equal to 0. So one root loci will start from s is equal to 0 and move in this direction. I am indicating it moves in this direction. Another root loci starts from s is equal to minus 1. It cannot move in this direction. It cannot move in this direction, that is to the left. It has to move in this direction. So the direction is this. Okay. So these two root loci approach each other, meet at a point called as the breakaway point on the negative real axis, break away from each other at an angle 180 divided by 2 and move in the direction of the asymptote. So we have to find the breakaway point for these two root loci. Okay, two root loci. We will do that next. Now when we come here, one root loci starts at s is equal to minus 2. It cannot move in this direction, so it has to move in this direction. So because this is part of root locus on the real axis, it's a root locus part, so it has to move in this direction. Okay, and if we draw the asymptote, one of the asymptote will be in this direction. So part of root locus on real axis is finished. Now we will come to the rule what is called as sigma c, that is the centroid of the asymptote. Okay, centroid of the asymptote is, you can find out centroid of the asymptote using the formula sigma c is equal to sigma p minus sigma z divided by p minus z. So you got sigma p is P1 plus P2 plus P3, how many poles are there? Add them. Minus Z1 plus Z2, etc. You add them. Divided by number of pole is 3 and number of zeros is 0. So we get what is P1? It is 0. What is P2? It is minus 1. What is P3? It is minus 2. There are no zeros, divided by 3. So sigma C is equal to minus 1. Okay, so the centroid of the asymptote is here. This is your centroid of the asymptote. So I will indicate it with red color. You can see this is the centroid of the asymptote. This is the centroid of the asymptote. So this will be sigma c. It is not writing. So it is this will be your sigma c. The centroid of the asymptote is sigma c. Okay, this will be your centroid of the asymptote. Minus 1. So this is minus 1. Now how many asymptotes to be drawn? Number of asymptotes. Okay, number of asymptote is equal to P minus Z. So P is now how many poles are there? 3 poles. There are no zeros, so it is number of asymptotes is equal to 3. So 3 asymptotes. Centroid also 3 asymptotes. Now we have to find angle of asymptotes. So phi A1 is equal to, yesterday I have found out that angle of asymptote is 1 plus minus 180 degrees into 2q plus 1, and q divided by p minus z, and q was equal to 0, 1, 2 etc. to p minus z minus 1. So how many q's we have? 0, 1 etc. Let me see, 3 minus 0 minus 1. Z is 0, p number of poles is 3, so you will have 0, 1, 2. So q will be, once you substitute q1 you get 5, q is equal to 0 you get phi A1, you substitute q is equal to 1 you get phi A2, you substitute q is equal to 2 you get phi A2, 1 you get phi A1. So we found out phi A1 for q is equal to 0 was 60 degrees plus minus 60 degrees, and you get phi A2, phi A2, you can say, if you want you can say phi A0, this is phi A1, q is equal to 1, you got that one as equal to how much? That is 180 degrees plus minus 180 degrees, you have to substitute, and phi A2, that is the third angle, is plus minus, you substitute q is equal to 2, you got it as 300 degrees. So you have to plot. So this is your 90 degrees from the centroid, 180 degrees, 0 degrees, plus 90 degrees, minus 90 degrees. Okay. So if you consider this as the centroid of the asymptote, starting you have to take a protractor, measure and then write, that will be 60 degrees line here. Okay, 60 degrees line, and then 180 degrees line is in this direction, 180 degrees line is in this direction. So if this is 90, 60 will be somewhere here, and this will be, you measure 180 degrees from here you have to measure 300 degrees. So this will be your 300 degrees line. So you have to use a protractor and then do that. Okay. So this when I have used, so I will measure 60 degrees from here. So this will be my point. From the centroid you join by a straight line. Okay. Then from here you measure 180 degrees. This is another asymptote. Okay. This is another asymptote. 180 degrees asymptote. So from here you measure 300 degrees and you draw that line. So it will be somewhere here. That is 300 line. So we will get that as 300 degrees. Okay, this is your 300 degrees line. So 300 degrees line, 60 degrees line, and 180 degrees line. So this is 60, this is 180, and this will be your 300. Okay. So now these asymptotes fix the direction of the root loci. So this is asymptote 1, asymptote 2, asymptote 3. Now the two root loci starting from these two poles, they will meet at the sigma b. So yesterday I have explained to you how to find out the breakaway point. So we got dk divided by ds, we substituted it as equal to 0, and I got s1 and s2 as equal to, yesterday I have told, s1 and s2 as equal to somewhere minus 1.58 and then minus 0.48 I got. This was sigma b. Which one we considered? We will take this as sigma b. So if we take this as sigma b, so how do you find out this? I have explained to you yesterday. It's there in my notes. Please go through that. Okay. So we found this as the breakaway point. So if this is equal to 1, so this will be this. If this is equal to minus 1, so this will be equal to minus 0.5. So 0.48 will be somewhere here. So this will be your sigma b, breakaway point. Now these two root loci at the breakaway point break at an angle of 90 degrees because two root loci are approaching. One root loci, another root loci. So the breakaway point will be plus angle of breakaway point, breaking of this two root loci will be 180 degrees divided by 2 number of root loci. So that will be plus minus 90 degrees. So you measure from here. So from here this is plus 90 degrees and this is minus 90 degrees. Plus 90 degrees, minus 90. Plus 90 in the anti-clockwise direction, minus 90 in the clockwise direction. Then it moves. Then what happens? These two root loci break and move in this direction, and it moves in this direction. After this, this root loci will follow the direction of this asymptote. So what I do is it will flow like this. Okay, it has to come like this, parallel to the asymptote, 60 degrees asymptote, and then 300 degrees asymptote. Now if you see, it will be intersecting on the imaginary axis. This root loci will be intersecting on the imaginary axis. So how to find the root loci intersection on the imaginary axis? So what was the next one? Intersection of root loci, intersection of root loci on imaginary axis was found out by using Routh-Hurwitz criteria. So you form the Routh table and then you got the auxiliary equation, okay, auxiliary equation, and you solved the auxiliary equation, and for k is equal to 0, for k is equal to 6. For k is equal to 6, what happened? S to power 3, I think S to power 1 row element will all became 0. So 1 minute. You can see in this notes that we have used the Routh-Hurwitz criteria to find the intersection of the root loci on the imaginary axis. So when I make that k value, here you can see, if I make k is equal to 6, this row s to power 1 row element has become 0. So all the elements are 0. Auxiliary equation is formed by using this s to power 2 row. So what is the auxiliary equation? I have written here. 3s square plus k is the auxiliary equation. I substitute k is equal to 6, and now I solve the auxiliary equation. How did I get 3s square? You can see here. 3 into s square plus k into s. Powers are even. Okay. Powers are even for this. S square next to power should be s to power 0. It cannot be s to power 1 because s to power 1 power is odd. So 3s square plus k into s to power 0. S to power 0 is 1. So therefore I got the auxiliary equation as 3s square plus k. That is, put k is equal to 6. For that value this has become 0. So then you solve the auxiliary equation. You get the solution for the auxiliary. So s is equal to plus minus j square root 2. So this is nothing but j 1.414. So this is the point at which j 1.414 is the intersection on the imaginary axis, plus j 1.414 minus j 1.414. At this point on the imaginary axis, the root locus intersects, and the value of k at that point we have put it as equal to 6. Okay. So that is the limitation for the value of k. If you make k greater than 0, what happens? This you can see here, this becomes negative. If you make that greater than 0, this becomes negative, system becomes unstable, roots will be in the right half of S plane, so you cannot get stable system. So for the system to be stable, the value of k should be equal to greater than 0, less than 1. Okay, but if it is, this you get intersection of the root locus on the imaginary axis. So we got this, that is the root locus intersect the imaginary axis, and at this point k is equal to 6. Okay, so let us see how we have done that in this figure. So what is that point on the k is equal to? What is that point we have is, so j this is my j 1, so j 1.5, so j 1.414 will be somewhere here, plus j 1.414. So this is plus j 1.414 plus j 1.414, and here this is if this is j1 and this is j2, this will be j1.5, so 1.414 will be somewhere here. So this is minus j 1.414. Now you join this, you can extend, and then it becomes parallel, then it goes parallel to this line. Similarly you extend, then it goes parallel to this line. So this is how this is as k is going to infinity. As you increase k from 0 to infinity, the root loci go in this direction. So one root loci goes towards infinity as k is increased from 0 to infinity in this direction of asymptote. Another root loci goes in this direction, k is increased to infinity. Here also from k is equal to 0, as you make k tend to infinity, k tend to infinity, it will go in this direction of the asymptote. Okay, so this is the root locus that we have plotted for this problem. What is this problem? G of s, h of s is equal to k divided by s into s plus 1 into s plus 2. And yesterday I have explained to you how to do the breakaway point. This I have told you. So we got this dk by ds. Okay, this was dk by ds, and we got gh, 1 plus gh characteristic equation. Substitute for gh. Okay, then you take k, simplify this, and then get the value for k, and this k you have to differentiate it. So when you differentiate this k with respect to s, I have got this expression. So when I got that expression, I solved this, 3s square plus 6s plus 2. It is a quadratic equation. Use the solution to quadratic equation and substitute, get the answer as S1 and S2 as this. That S1 and S2 will be the breakaway point of the root locus or real axis. So we consider this point 42 because it is a part on root locus. We neglect this because it is not on part of root locus. Okay, so that is what we have explained to you all these things yesterday. Okay, so next is, so we have all the root loci being drawn. I have a note here, application. The value of k at sigma b can be found out. What is the value of k at that sigma b, that breakaway point on the negative real axis? One example I am telling. So can be found out by using this formula, that is 1 plus g of s h of s is equal to 0. So you put 1 plus that g of s h of s is k divided by s into s plus 1 into s plus 2. Simplify this and put k, you get k value here. So what is it saying? This is the value, this is k, s cube minus of s cube plus 3s square plus 2s we got from here. Now at s is equal to, as what is the breakaway point? Breakaway point is sigma b, and we have taken breakaway point as minus 0.42. You substitute that here. Okay, you substitute that here, and then see s wherever s is there, you put s is equal to minus 0.42. So minus 0.42 whole cube, s cube, minus 0.42 whole square into 3, then minus 0.42 into 2. Okay, so you have got this and you simplify now, do the calculations etc. So you get k is equal to this value. So minus 0.3448, minus into minus it becomes plus. So k will be equal to 0.3848. This is the value of k at the breakaway point. At this point, this is the value of k. Okay, you can also obtain this value of k by using the formula. What is the formula? K is equal to product of the vectors drawn from the poles to this point to product of the vector drawn from zeros to this point. That way also, that formula also can be used. So this is one application. So the how to find the value of k at the breakaway point. Some other point also you can find out. Okay. Another information you have here is the root locus for k value greater than 0. The root locus crosses into and go and finds itself in the right half of S plane. So which is the region of instability. Hence, for closed loop system to be stable, the value of k has to be greater than 0, less than 6. You can find here only. See, this is we got this value 1.414 plus j and minus j 1.414, and for when we had put k is equal to 0. So at this point, after this, if you increase k in the Raut-Hurwitz criteria, as k is going, at this point k is equal to 6. If you make k greater than 6, you will find the root locus going in this direction and here. And any point on this root locus, it's the root of the characteristic equation. It's the locus of the roots of the characteristic equation. Root locus is the locus of the roots of the characteristic equation. So we are not finding all the roots, few, and then joining them like this using the rules for drawing the root locus. Okay, you find for the value of k greater than 6, the root loci find itself in the right half of S plane, even though this root loci in the left half of S plane, but these two root loci will be in the right half of S plane, leading to the roots in the right half of S plane. So if you find the roots in right half of S plane, system is unstable. So the range of k for the system to be stable is k should be greater than 0. The range of k for the system to be stable is that k should be greater than 0 and less than 6. Okay, so this is how we can plot the root locus for this system. We told that the value of k at breakaway point was equal to, how much we got? The value of k at breakaway point to be equal to 0.348. So at this breakaway point, k at this point is equal to 0.348. That I have found out. Okay. Then using this, how did you find? It was here. This is the value of k at this entire thing, that whatever I have done, the value of k at that value point, breakaway point, it is equal to 0.3848. So here you have to show at this point it is 3848, breakaway point. Any point you can find the value of k. Okay, any point on the root locus, you can find the value of k. How you take at this point, okay, if you want. So what you have to do is, you have to draw that you in this equation you have to substitute. So in this equation, if you have to substitute, you can see this is a complex point. It is a complex point. Here it was real. S is equal to breakaway point, 0.42. But here it is complex. So instead that, because when I use this, it becomes difficult. So what I do is I use the formula. So to this point, from this pole you draw the vector, from this pole you draw the vector, from this pole you draw the vector. So from S is equal to 0 to that point, to this point, you draw the vector, one line, and from S is equal to -1, you draw a vector, a line, and from S is equal to -2, you draw the vector. Okay, so if I do that, it will be like I am not using the scale, because this is one vector from S is equal to 0, this is another vector from S is equal to 0, and this is the third vector from S is equal to 0. So there are no zeros, so I have to take the what is the value of k at that point? K at that point, what is that point? Here, this value. What is the value here? It is somewhere, so this is 0.25, this is minus 0.5, this will be 0.25. So I am taking it as minus 0.25. At minus 0.25 plus minus j is equal to 1. So j is equal to 1 is product of the vector drawn from S1, product of the vector drawn from S plus 1, okay, and product of the vector drawn from S plus 2 divided by product of the vector drawn from all the zeros. Zeros are not there, so I will take this as 1. So that is equal to, so what is the vector drawn? You have to measure, use the scale and measure. Okay, drawn from S1, that is from S is equal to 0. If I think, if I take this, it will be somewhere around, if I have to use a scale, measure and then show, okay. So if I use a scale, measure here, I will put my scale here, I will take, so it is coming somewhere around 1.5 centimeter or 2 centimeters, okay. So it is 2 centimeter into what, I will put a scale here from S is equal to -1 and I am measuring. So what it will be equal to somewhere around 2.5, okay, somewhere around 2.5. Then product of the vector drawn from S is equal to -2. So I have taken a scale and I am measuring it. So how much it will be? Somewhere around 3.4 centimeters ಅಂತ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ. So that is equal to 4 centimeters divided by 1. Okay. So how much this value of k will be? 2 into 2.5 will be 5. 5 into 4 is equal to 20. So the value of k, it cannot be 20. Is this clear? It cannot be 20, and I have to divide it by 2 because my 1 centimeter I have made it 2. So all the things will have to be divided by 2. So that will be equal to so you can see here the value of k. Here you can see value of k from S is equal to 0 is 2 centimeter. That means it will be 1 centimeter. And you can use Pythagoras theorem and then find out. So here it is 0.5 square plus 1 square under square root, you get this value. Okay, then what is the length of this one? You will be having, it is equal to 2 centimeter. So it will be, so divide by 2. So 1 into it is also 2 centimeter into 1. So this if I take now, this if I take, it is around 4 centimeter, that is 2. Okay, so it will be into 2. So this divide by 1. So this I have to cancel. So 1 into 1 into 2. So how much it will be? It will be 2. So the value of k is equal to 2. So this is the value of k. You know how I did? So you measure from this, to this. So here it is 2 centimeter from S is equal to 0 to the point. It is 2 centimeters. So divide by 2, it will be 1. And that is 1 I have taken here. I have taken as 1. Okay, here it is 1. Then from S is equal to 1, S is equal to S plus 1 pole, that is S is equal to -1. Again it is somewhere around approximately 2.5 or 2 centimeters. I can take 2.5 or 2 centimeters. Okay, 2.5 I have taken it as divide by 2. So it will be equal to 1.25. So here it will be 1.25. And if I measure from S is equal to -2, S is equal to -2, it is coming somewhere around 4 centimeter. So divide by 2. so that will be equal to 2. So 2 into somewhere around 2 5s are how much it is, 1.25 into 2. So 1.25 into 2, somewhere around 2.5 centimeters I am. Okay, 2.5 centimeters. That means K is directly equal to 2.5 value at this point. So anywhere you want to find somewhere here, you can again find out. Draw the vector length from here. Vector length from S is equal to minus 2. Vector length from S is equal to minus 1 and minus 2. You want to find the K value here. You take a point here. Take the get a vector from here to here. Vector length from S is equal to minus 2 to this required point, minus 1 to this required point, and 0 to this required point. Take the product of that, you will get it. So this is one application. Another, see, you can see, suppose it is required to determine the closed loop poles with the damping ratio is equal to 0.5, that is zeta 0.5. Then what is the procedure? Then a closed loop pole with zeta is equal to 0.5 lies on the line passing through the origin and making an angle of cos inverse of 0.5 is equal to 60 degrees with a negative real axis. Okay, so how to do this? How to find this value of dominant pole at sigma is at zeta is equal to 0.5. So you have to draw a line from the origin making an angle of 60 degrees, 0.5, cos inverse of 0.5. So you take cos inverse of 0.5. So from here to measure, from here you have to measure. So cos inverse of 0.5 and then draw a line. Okay, draw a line. So this will be equal to cos inverse of 0.5, and this angle is making 60 degrees with the negative real axis. So cos inverse of 5 is equal to 60 degrees from the origin you have drawn. Okay, so the intersection of this line, you can see this line is intersecting. This line is intersecting here. So you have to find out what is that value of the root there. So if you project it downwards, you get a negative real axis. This will be positive imaginary axis. Okay, so what is the root at cos inverse of 0.5? So if I project it downwards, I am getting between 0, K is S is equal to 0 to S is equal to minus 0.5. If this is minus 1, this will be minus 0.5. Somewhere around point, you count exactly the divisions. So this will be 0.5. So this will be 0.5. This will be 0.25. So somewhere around 0.4. So the dominant pole is minus 0.4 plus minus j omega. J plus j omega is this. So it is equal to, it is less than j1. So I can take it as j point somewhere 8 I can take, j.8. So similarly, if you project it downwards, it should be complex conjugate. Root complex bantanta conjugate should be there. So minus 0.4 plus j.8 is the dominant root at zeta is equal to 0.5. So if they give zeta is equal to 0.8, you have to take cos inverse of 0.8. Whatever angle you get, you have to plot. Maybe it will be cos inverse of 0.8 is around 37 degrees. So you can plot it 37 degrees from here. The intersection of that line with the root locus will give you the dominant roots at 0.8. Okay, so this is how we will be plotting the root locus. Okay, so here I will end and